William, given that video games have only been around for approximately 80 years, give or take,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a relatively short span in the
Hmm.
grand
We're at
history.
like what, 250, 200 years of motion picture history,
Right,
something like that.
right. So
Yeah.
in a way, we're still at the the precipice of the whole thing. In your view, what is the long term value of preserving the history of video games?
Video games are like any media, like we're talking about the film industry, television industry, video game industry. It's all a reflection of what our technical capabilities are and how our storytelling abilities have evolved, right?
Right,
And both of those are interesting to follow on their own trajectory, and it's very interesting to put them together and just see how one influenced the other, right? So, and we just see how our mores have changed, and it's the human condition. It's another way of of expressing what it is to be human,
right.
right? And it's a stylized, super, like, I don't know about you, but I've never driven in a car and picked up a hooker and then beat her to a baseball bat and taken her money.
I can't relate
But and I don't
as
know if
well.
it's not something I would pursue even in the game a lot, but it's something to try. Like you said, just it's something, some aspect of the game you want to bump up against and to see what the result is.
Right.
And so, but still, it's reflecting who we are as humans and how we tell a story. And it's, the video games are really interesting because they're interactive. It's not a passive thing where you're just having the media just wash over you, and then you don't, and then you just, there's no interaction with it. But with video games, you get in there and interact, and you yourself, what your actions and what your attitudes are will
Right.
reflect what's being shown in the game, right?
Right. Right,
Yeah.
right. I could totally agree with that. And in a way, if I may just add my 2 cents, I treat video games as a work of art, as a collective work of art sometimes, and other times as a solo piece of art, would be done by a sole developer. But at the end of the day, it is a modern piece of art, and I respect it as such. And when I'm
Hmm.
playing the game, um, how can I put this? I try to appreciate what is made. So not
Yeah.
only do I, take, past the missions and, do what I have to do, but I kind of, stop and look, oh, wow, this, is there for a reason. This is here for a reason. But what's the message that is trying to be conveyed? And I try to enjoy a game this way, where I look at it, from a perspective of, this is someone's creation, someone's, blood, sweat, and tears. And it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. It takes
Hmm.
a long time, a lot of dedication, and not everybody can do it. And I think all those factors can relate to it being a work of art. I
Yeah.
cannot necessarily paint anything that Da Vinci does, or whatever. So if their work is considered art, I think video games could be considered as art as well.
Right.
So yeah, I fully agree with
Yeah.
what you're saying.
It's
And
interesting. One controversial thing, I have his quote up on my site. A controversial thing that Roger Ebert said about video games is, he said video games can never be art by the nature of them. They can never be art. And
interesting.
and it's a controversial statement, and so many people pointed out, like, to me, I'll use a modern version. Like, I don't know if you did you play Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, of course, of
It's
course.
an
It's a
amazingly
fantastic game.
visual, a beautiful lyrical visual world, right?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
absolutely a piece of art, because it's just so beautiful. And then, like we were saying, like, well, it's a beautiful work of art and a great game with great mechanics, right?
Yeah,
So the combination of those two, just think of the two things about humans: what we build and the art we paint. And video
yeah.
games put them together,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
right?
it's so beautifully said. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can agree. Do you know why? I forgot the name of the person you mentioned. Do you know why he said this quote?
Um, I believe it's just because it's Roger Ebert, a very famous movie reviewer,
Okay,
and
okay, makes sense.
it's just more or less like he's passed away. I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay,
He maybe longer than that, but he was just steeped in movies, right? And they just kind of didn't understand, like, like I said, you merge the things two together, but sometimes you focus on one thing or the other. And he's probably focusing on, you've got a joystick and you're just moving a character around, and like he doesn't understand that even that can be art, right? He's all steeped in the language of film.